Ladies and gentlemen and beer drinkers of legal age, welcome once again to Brewers for Good. I'm Roger. I'm here with Jef.
How you guys doing?
We're hanging out at Loaded Dice Brewing in Troy. Made the pilgrimage all the way from Brighton on this
Not bad.
shitty day. Just we want to talk to Jef.
Cold November rain.
Cold, yeah, no check, right? Axel himself, we got to pay him like probably 50 cents for how he said that. So you and I met at Ipsy.
Yeah. Yep. We you saw the silliness that we tried to create.
What's going on? It was a good time.
Yeah. Squirt guns, poppers, everything we could find.
The band was super loud that day.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Ipsy's a great festival. Next year, I think we're definitely going to go up to Marquette because I hear that's the one to go to.
Yes.
Easter Market this year, and I don't know if you went to.
I didn't get to go.
Oh God, it was incredible weather. Like it was perfect.
Yeah.
You're perfect. Like still had a nice. I think it was like 85 and sunny, and it wasn't like that humid traffic heat that we get. It's like a great fall day in Michigan.
Your festival attendees, make mental note there. Easter Market next year. Maybe we'll do a live remote from that one. I was bummed that we didn't get a chance to go, but I was out of town.
Yeah, you missed our wrestling.
You wrestled?
I did not wrestle, but we do. I mean, you saw us at Ipsy. We try to have fun with it, and so this year we released a beer at 316. So Stone Cold Steve Austin. So we made a wrestling ring, and we had one of my regulars has like the Ric Flair belt and the robe. So he came out as Ric Flair. My general manager came out as Stone Cold, and they put on a little show. We released the beer. That beer went out in about 20 minutes. It was a lot of fun. It was stupid fun. Yeah, just try not to take things too seriously.
Well, it was clear to me when we met that, like, one of the things that you benefit from going to a festival like that is you get all in one place. You get a chance to kind of understand the vibe of what the breweries are all about. And clearly, you guys have a serious amount of fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, I opened the brewery, because, I got into brewing to have fun. I started as a home brewer, and I moved out to California. I didn't know anybody, and the guys I worked with did 3 things. They made beer, they made barbecue, and they played poker. And I happened to like all of those, so it seemed like a natural fit.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah. So, and I always wanted, when you homebrew, you go to a lot of different breweries. I felt like a lot of the breweries were really getting like cookie cutter or standoffish, so we wanted to open up. I'm here probably every day that we're open. There's some days that I'm not, but it's very important that my staff, we want everybody to know everything about the beers that we're brewing, have that conversation. When I used to go to breweries, it meant so much more if I saw like the owner or the brewer, present.
Right.
So I really try to bring that kind of spirit and vibe in there, and I'm a good ball anyway, so it kind of comes out in the brewery too. So.
Yep. So here we are in the space, and we're in Troy.
Yep.
Ish. Like we're kind of tucked in the corner here.
Yeah, you can tip your toe into Boston.
Yeah.
And go a little bit further to Royal Oak. But yeah, we're at Maple Road in Rochester, so just north of Maple Road down Rochester. For you East Siders, it's 15 miles.
There you go. so like, how'd you pick here? And when you made this choice, like, you found this space, and you're like, all right, this is what it's going to be. Like, how'd that all come together for you?
So we're Troy residents. So I was originally looking to do something actually further up north because I thought there's a void between like this area and getting out to like past Auburn Hills for breweries that are like right off of 75. I have a lot of friends and colleagues that are going up, that would be breweries up north, that had breweries. So I thought maybe we could kind of play off one another. If you have a beer up at Snowbelt, up there, and you come down here, we can kind of share and play with that. But during that journey, I always heard that Troy is, not the easiest place to work with, especially for small businesses. I mean, if you go up Big Beaver, you see every chain out there. And that's not a knock against Troy, but, it was, I didn't think I could do it in Troy. So one of my friends got me a meeting in with the city planner and the business developer in Troy, and, being a marketing ad guy, I had a presentation already, and I was sitting there with my laptop and ready to project, and they come in with a map of the city, just rolled it out. They're like, you could go here, here, or here. I'm I'm like, oh, but I have no. They're like, no, we want you here. You just got to figure out where you can go. So at that point, I'm like, well, Troy's a reality. You know, and I knew I was going to keep my day job, real job or whatever. So I needed something that was somewhat close to home.
Sure.
So that kind of led me here. Didn't plan on opening during a pandemic. That wasn't in my business plan. That actually helped because that gave us like a kind of like a series of soft openings. It kind of worked out things because one, I never brewed professionally, never owned a business, never ran a retail facility, let alone like something like this. So there's a lot of things like, oh, we don't have a cash box. We opened up, we didn't know that. Oh, where are we going to store our dirty and clean glasses? You know, this is like little detail things like you didn't really click because you're looking at like just what you have to do to get open as far as like permitting and the health department inspections. Like little things get lost in the weeds a little bit.
For sure.
So you know, there is a plus side to put to it. That's it as far as like COVID. But there was a moment where I broke ground, and the day after she shut down the state, I broke ground for plumbing, and I sat in that corner over there and just kind of rocking back and forth, and my safety blanket.
Yeah. Like,
what
what
are we
did we
gonna
do?
Yeah. Yeah, there were no walls or anything built. And
Wow.
at that point, I mean, it's not that big of a space. We're just under 2,000 square feet. But, you know, I'm like, well, either I hold up shop, and I don't know what I've done financially at that point.
Right.
Because I had a lot of money into it already. Or we just move forward. So we decided to move forward. I learned how to frame walls, install doors, put in toilets. You know, and
You had the time.
I had the time, so
Definitely had the time.
Yep.
So I come in here on a night where you're open. Like, what's it like in here when we got patrons?
So generally we have music playing. You know, we have a jukebox that is one of the apps run jukebox that people can kind of play whatever they want, and it ranges with everything. I have some guidelines, but they're just guidelines that I would prefer. But people play whatever they want, and so at any given time, it's a lot of laughter. We have games. We have a group that comes up here and plays Magic the Gathering. We have a group that plays cribbage. So those usually happen quite often. We dub Thursday night our fun club night, and that is a bunch of our regulars just come up and at any given moment they'll just start spouting off in the round dad jokes or someone would put on a stupid sing-along song. It's about promoting positive energy and having fun.
That's cool.
Fridays, every third Friday of the month. So this Friday we have an improv group that comes up there and does a little performance for a couple hours, and they invite a lot of people in the audience to come up and do stuff.
Oh,
so
fun.
yeah, and then that spawned from like a regular. He's like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So during COVID, they used to be at experimentation regularly. They would do this, but COVID, they didn't have an arena to do it in, and they were just looking for a spot just to perform and keep their cameras going. So we try to do a lot of little things like that.
So it's not just a bunch of guys in here drinking. Like, there's stuff going on.
No, there's stuff. We have food trucks every night that we're open. So we try to keep the rotation pretty fresh. Like, I don't want to have a food truck, every Wednesday, the same food truck.
Sure.
So, a lot of that stems because I'm not going to make a ton of money for a food truck, so a lot of them just don't come in that. And I actually end up being the place where the new food trucks come because they need to kind of work things out. And it's a slower kind of grind. So
That's cool.
yeah, I don't mind that at all.
So, for those of you who are going to investigate Loaded Dice's brand, it's very specific to the whole idea of dice. So I know there's a story to this, so let's talk a little bit about how that all came to be.
Yeah, so it's going to sound way worse than it actually is. So, I come from a family of gamblers. Gambling was always involved, holiday, we always play poker or cribbage or something. We always put money down. My dad owned race horses. We're a family of bowlers, and bowling and gambling kind of go hand in hand.
Bowling, baby, let's go.
Actually, my son just made the varsity bowling.
Hey.
So that's cool. I play poker, I don't want to say professionally, but pretty regularly. I joke that I play craps, or I play poker to fund my crap addiction. And for me, it's not I'm always catching that, my gambling, I guess, addiction isn't from I got to catch that next big win. It's more like I like looking at numbers and trying to figure out where the odds are and where the value is. Yeah, yeah. So my dad had this legal pads on stacks that he would track all the lotto numbers and then look for the grouping combinations, like the pairs and what pairs came with what pairs, and insanity. And then that just kind of, I guess, genetic.
Yeah, that's an old school algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's doing. And I remember the day I showed him an Excel sheet where you could do all that himself and put it in. He's like, it's kind of got bummer, man. I've been doing this by hand all my life, and here it is, just like this damn computer.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, he's like, you take away my competitive advantage, man.
right.
I think there was a moment between you and the missus too, where she was like, "Hey, man, are you gonna do this? You gonna roll the dice?" And
right. So you look up to your parents, and my dad was always the guy that had all these ideas but never executed on them. And then it's not a knock against him. It's just he had 6 kids, so
sure.
We have 3 kids, so I don't know how we did it, but we ended up doing it. And there's going to be this or a barbecue restaurant, because I also did competitive barbecue before we opened. I don't have time to do that anymore. But and I felt that a brewery was, I don't want to say easier to open, but I think it's a very isolated task.
Yeah.
You can brew by yourself. You can package by yourself. I could be done brewing for the day and open up and sell beer by myself if I need to.
Sure.
Running a restaurant, different beast.
Right.
So, knowing that it was going to be a gamble for us to do it, I tried to minimize my risk. So that was one of the ways to minimize the risk.
Cool. Yeah, it's always fun to hear. Naming conventions being what they are. There's always a story behind it.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Well, I know why we stumbled on Roll Dice. We were looking for gambling turns. Went through, Full House, Aces Full, all the typical names that you hear, and it just didn't resonate with us. And I'm like, well, I really like craps, so I started going through the terminology sheet for craps and look at dice and look at Dice Brewery. It wasn't the only choice, but it definitely, as I started showing it around and coming up with inception of the whole brand, that seemed to lend itself. And gambling in general, if you've seen my names for my beers, it's unlimited, really.
Yeah.
I could do movie themes, that are based on the scenes. I can go over here and I could do horse racing, and just do horse race name, horse names for Kentucky Derby if I want.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different avenues I can take.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit, really, when it comes to that kind of stuff. So let's talk about the beer. So
yeah.
Your favorites, your flagships, when I'm walking in, what are a lot of people drinking?
We actually pride ourselves on not having varieties.
Huh?
So we probably have just under 200 batches, and I probably would say about 180 of them are all unique recipes.
Wow.
So we constantly change over the tap list, and I think a lot of people enjoy that. But as we start trying to reach out and get into bars and party stores,
sure,
we have to have some flagships. So we keyed in on a few. So we have Pass Line Porter, which is going to be year round. It's a porter, obviously. My first bet is our Pale Ale. Hef Smoking Jacket, which is smoked Hefeweizen. We have a couple different lines, or a few different lines of beers that we alternate the style to. So you can see over there, we have Six-Sided Lager Project, which is kind of my pet project. So they're all lagers, but they're a different lager style every time. So we've done light lager, rice lager, Hellas, so we just change up what that beer style is.
Sure.
We do the same thing with our stout. So our series all in stouts, and we change what the adjuncts are. Same base stout, but we've done one with maple syrup, and we've done with the mountain stamp. We've done, we're releasing one this weekend called the Devil's Hand, which is made with devil's food cake. So it's really rich and decadent. And then we have a sour series called All the Marbles, all the marbles in, and we tend to really adjunct that with fruit. So we've done one All American Banger, which is supposed to be like a bomb pop kind of flavor.
Right.
The last one we did was Magnificent Moe Wings. So it's named off of a tropical slime. and that had sour sop and passion fruit. So all those tropical kind of flavors inside it. So you're probably always going to see one of those on tap. They don't last long for us. You know, we do one release of those a month for each one, and then we sneak in like a new hazy IPA or a new IPA or something like that along with it. So there's probably 4 bigger releases of beers every month, and then we have kind of rotating handles with us, depending on the season and stuff.
Dig it. This one's going to release in about maybe 10 days before Christmas. So early December. This interview will.
Yeah.
So like, what's going to be going on?
So then we have, again, pointing to those releases. So we're doing a Dunkel. We're doing, that's for the Six-Sided Lager project. We're doing what we're calling Pink Nightmare, which is not pink, it's a stout, but it's named after kind of like Christmas Story.
All right.
So that's going to be an eggnog flavor stout.
Oh, wow.
And then we're doing what we're calling Sugar Plum Fairy for all the marble sour, which is going to have notes of like a sugar plum, so dried fruit, but we're really heavy in like figs, dates, apricots. So kind of seasonal for the season. And then we'll probably sneak in Juicy Side Bet, which is our flagship, hazy IPA.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably going to be what we're putting out around that.
All right, dig it.
Yeah.
Let's speak a little bit more about this Six-Sided Lager project. Like,
yeah.
Well, tell us what's that all about.
So you start seeing trends. I mean, I'm a big analytics guy, and I think there's a shifting going from those super heavy stouts to the really juicy and IPAs.
Yeah.
People just want a nice simple lager.
Yeah.
So we're trying to kind of get our systems down to where we can do lagers, but it's a different process. It takes a lot of time. And that's kind of why we've always stayed away, because I don't have 8 weeks to wait for a beer.
Sure.
I just don't have the capacity.
Right.
But I recognize that we need to have those on tap. So if we plan correctly, we can always at least have one lager on tap. We're putting out the Dunkel in December, which I'm really excited for, and that's probably going to be a Wednesday after that.
All right.
I think it's a solid recipe. Mark, my head brewer, that's his jam. So just let him go do Mark things. I've learned to just step away and let things happen. You hire people that are better than you.
Sure.
And you should if you're doing it right.
Sure.
And he's infinitely better than me. So why not just let him go do what he needs to do? And he wanted to do a Dunkel, and I'm like all for it. So we're putting that out, and it's just I really think it's something that's probably going to become more regular here. We're trying to figure out what lager styles we can do here effectively, and then as we grow in capacity, we'll probably start pulling a few every month and having regular drinks.
Love it. That's fantastic. Yeah. And I'm with you. As a guy who loves to drink an IPA, one of the things that the festivals have taught me is if you spend all your time and tokens on IPAs at a beer festival, you're missing out.
Yeah.
There's so much other cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
You could always go back to the IPA, but spread your wings and give your taste buds a chance to experience some other stuff.
Right.
And it sounds to me like except 200 different recipes, there's always going to be that opportunity here when you walk in the room.
And, granted, a lot of them are tweaks on other recipes, but we're always adjusting. One of the values of having myself or Mark out in the tap room is that you can talk to the customers, get their feedback,
right,
as opposed to unpacked, where they're kind of hidden behind you.
Sure.
And you don't really get that same reaction.
Yep.
So we're always taking notes and just trying to refine stuff.
Yeah. Any holiday events coming around that time?
Well, we had around that time. Nothing's scheduled yet. I can barely think past this week. We are looking at doing a cookie decorating event and probably doing some kind of craft thing.
Gotcha.
Where we got a couple of feelers out there for that. We're trying to dial that in.
Gotcha.
It's got to happen within the next day or two, but nothing official right now.
Some people shudder when I say this because it's such a big brewery, but there's once a year release, Hop Slam. Everybody gets all excited. Oh, it's Hop Slam time. You got something like that happens on the calendar?
We actually do. So we have Fat King.
Fat King, yep.
Yep. So Fat King is a Wiesenbach, which is dark wheat beer. the style has a lot of banana in it. So what we do, we put peanut butter and bacon on it because Elvis's favorite sandwich was a peanut butter banana.
Peanut butter and jam.
Yep.
Take care of it.
Yep. So we released that. We actually released the packing twice a year. So we do it on the anniversary of his birth and death.
Gotcha.
September was his birth, I think. I always get it backwards, and I can never remember it. But so September is the bigger release where we do the birth of the packing, which is a lighter version, lighter in color, lighter, lower in ABV, less banana, more banana, less bacon and peanut butter. The packing is kind of even balance of it all, higher in ABV, and then we do the death of the king, which is a wheat wine that we just counted with everything you can figure out how to get in there from banana, bacon, and peanut butter.
From my observation this year, you blew through that release like crazy.
Yeah. We had the birth of the fat king on a little bit longer than I thought it would, but the death went so fast. I mean, it came out like 10.5%. So we were only pouring 10 ounces of that. But we barrel aged a little bit of that, so we'll have that out in January. The barrel aged version of that.
There you go.
Fat king. So yeah.
Now you know, January, you got time to get here, right?
Yep.
So mark the calendars. So, you know, we're merch people. You see my So Good Brewing Company,
Yeah.
my mythical brewing company that exists so that I can show people what merch looks like if they want to do business with us. What's your attitude about merch?
I know I need to have it. It's
Yep.
because, you know, me being so small, like, I know I need to have it to help promote the brand. It's definitely not profitable or cost effective for me because I have to buy it in such a small value.
Right.
And again, back to the size thing, it's like I don't have any place to store it.
Right.
Off camera, you can see this place is a mess.
No.
We just audited off camera. We just audited all our merch. And we're going to start selling and discounting the stuff that just hasn't moved.
Yeah.
Personally, like going to a brewery, I love it. I have way too many brewery cookies.
Same.
Way too many brewery hats. But here, it's, I mean, if I buy 30 pieces, I have to sell 28 of them before I make a profit.
Wow.
And it's not about, you know, everything about making money.
Sure,
right?
but
you know, it's I gotta be a businessman in some
yeah,
way, right?
for sure. Yep. Well, you know, merch being what it is, obviously we're big proponents of merch, but support your local brewery merch is what the message is here, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I just wish I could do it, and I can't. You know,
totally understand.
I have T-shirts, I have hoodies, and I barely have hats because I can't. I only buy 12 at a time. They go like that.
And headwear is super expensive, so it's one of the most challenging categories for most brewers. So breweries oftentimes are about the community. This is the Brewers for Good series that we do here. So I want to give you a chance. Like, one of the things that I'm really intrigued by is this idea of you being an open source brewery. Yeah. So like, I feel like that falls in the category. So kind of speak about how you guys approach your community involvement.
Oh, so like I try to have at least. I want to have at least one beer a month where I'm doing like $1 per pint. It goes to every charity. It's hard to keep up that pace because of the turnover that we have with beer. But we just released last weekend Veterans Blend.
There you go.
Beer that we are doing in partnership with Pontiac Brewing Tribe, who's a homebrew club. Yakima Chief releases his blend every year. It's different every year. It's a hop blend. They actually take some part of their proceeds and donate to Hunter 7, which is the veterans organization, a charitable organization. The Pontiac Brew Tribe is partnered with Towers and Funnels to Towers, which I do $1 per pint towards that. So it's called Titanic Thompson. It's a hazy IPA. It's about 7.9%. Super great. It's the hop blend lends. You'll get like a really dank and woody, you know, aroma, but it's super citrusy. Lots of pineapple. So
It's making my mouth water.
yeah, it's such a good beer. Like, I mean, those people who come in here, they know I hate most of my beer. I don't drink it, right? Just because I'm around it. It's kind of like if you work at Taco Bell. You know,
Understood.
Taco Bell,
Understood.
so-
Yeah.
But this beer is phenomenal. It's probably one of the better hazies that we put out. So I'm really excited for that beer. And before that, like I do an annual thing with another one of my regulars whose mom passed away from cancer, and she does the stair climb at Comerica Park.
Oh wow.
So we do a hibiscus goza for that.
Oh, wow.
My mom passed away from lung cancer. Hibiscus has some things in it that helps you breathe.
Oh.
So we do that in April of every year. Like I said, I try to do one. We did another one for a local dog rescue group. So, it's important to me to give back like that.
Yeah.
It's not much. It's only going to equate to a few $100s, but it's throwing more on top. Oh, then from Pride Month, we work with Affirmations in Ferndale, and we put out a Rainbow Jackpot, which is a milkshake IPA with fruity pebbles. So,
you were telling me about that at Beer Buck.
Yeah, so we did it last year. It was hugely successful, and I brew it with one of my workers here who's a lesbian and she's married. It was very important for her to do something like that. So I embraced it and ran with it.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm staring at the mugs on the wall over there, so we'd be remiss in not talking about Mug Club and what that means here.
So we actually have 3 types of memberships. So
all right.
The first ones that you see up on the pegboard, those were the founding ones. They're called the Founding 50. So those before I was even open to help kind of kickstart the campaign. It was actually a Kickstarter project. We do have the annual Mug Club that we open them up in September on our anniversary every year. Close it like about a month later, and we usually open it up at midway where we discount the annual fee. So with both of those, you get merchandise discounts. You get a couple beers on your birthday. If you come in around your birthday, you can't just say, "Hey, it's my birthday." We try to kind of keep people honest. You get access to special releases early. Your typical Mug Club type thing. And then we have the 969 Club.
Yep. Talk to me about that one.
Which is for $969 lifetime. Seems like a lot of money, which it is. You get your first beer of the day anytime you come in for $1.69. You get to pick your own mug. So within reason. I mean, I'm not 512-pound bunker.
Yeah, we don't need Dow's boot, right?
But I mean, a lot of them have taken advantage of that. Then you get a smoking jacket. Which I can't put some name over there. They're embroidered with the logo. You get cup embroidery with your name. Could be whatever you want to put on there. So it's just some fun and wacky. I put together last year for Black Friday. I thought I'd sell a couple, and we're at 22 right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So you'll come in here and see a few of them here. They'll have the jackets on depending on the season. Now they're starting to wear them again.
I bet.
It's a little bit cooler. This summer they didn't wear them.
Well, and it's like, what better way to be a standout in the tap room than to have your jacket on, right? Like,
there's been times where the bar has just been lined up, so it's kind of cool to see. I think my biggest takeaway in the 2 years we've been open is the amazing relationships that we've built. Like the people who come here regularly, the people who support me, I didn't know. There's a few that I've known, for some time, friends, older friends. But the regulars, like, I didn't know any of these people. We built, like, substantial, meaningful relationships with these people. And it's just, they see that hard work that my wife and I and my staff put in to make this thing go. It's never going to be, the fanciest place. Absolutely, I don't pretend that. It's always going to be a little grungy. It's always going to be, someone said it looks like somebody's basement, and I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
I want it to be welcoming. I want to feel like you're going in, on a holiday, dinner in your grandma's basement.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fun to me.
Yeah.
So, that just blows me away. That helps me, want to open up the next day. And when we close, it's like, I walk out with everybody, and they're like, "Oh, where are we gonna go next?" I'm like, "Oh, I've been here since 7 o'clock. Jef, you guys can go wherever you want." But and when we do the festivals, I invite those people to come forefront. Those are people that don't work for me, but they want to represent the brewery.
So, and they know a lot about your beer too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it's remarkable. Like, I mean, I'm humbled every day. I'm not just saying that, but it's the honest truth.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. Tap rooms in a lot of ways are kind of like community spaces that just happen to serve beer.
Yeah. And it's I had someone like tell me like the Elks and the Mount Moose Lodgers, like their memberships are failing, but these types of places are flourishing. Yeah. And so that people are just naturally need something.
Agreed. And I think maybe even more so since the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. So talk about Future Fest. What's that all about?
Oh, yeah. So it's a barrel share program. What you do, they'll be available. Will be released by the time this airs, but on Black Friday every year, we do the future bets where you buy into barrels. Um, you can get, we guarantee it's the cost is $75, and we're guaranteeing about 6 bottles.
Okay.
But depending on how many people buy into, you can get 8 bottles. And then we release them in the summer. Last year it was late June. And what we do is like a draft style kind of release. So we put out all the beers. Last year we had 5 different beers. And you get a number based on, what number you bought it. So if you buy it, you're the 14th person to buy this, you're number 14. And then we just draft the numbers. So you pick first, you got your lion's share of whatever. If you find one beer that you like, you can take those 6 bottles and go. But if you're picking last, you're just going to get the remnants. And if you don't show up, you get whatever's left over.
It's a gamble, baby.
It's a gamble. And you have the opportunity to maximize your bets. So you can buy more. You can buy 2, 3, 4 of those future bets, and you get an additional bottles on top of it. So we're guaranteeing 6. If you buy 1, if you buy 2, you get 13. So 12 plus the 1. If you buy 3, you get 22 or 23 or something like that. So like we add to it every time.
Yeah, add it to it.
Yep. And then every other year, we give out a token.
Mm-hmm.
We did it the first year, we didn't do it last year, and that token enables you to do some things at the next draft. So you can trade with somebody automatically, they can't reject it. You can jump ahead of somebody. So if there's a beer that you like, that you really want, you want a couple of them, you see it's going short, you can jump up a few spots into the draft. So just fun, gimmicky little stuff. This year we're going to do some other little twists to it, like we're talking about having the ability to pay a little bit more for one bottle and add it on. So let's say if it's 6 and it's $75, it's what? I'm doing that for about $12 a bottle.
Yep.
Pay $15 now and able to get that extra bottle. So you don't have to buy a whole another one to get
Gotcha.
that extra bottles.
Gotcha. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and right, what a reflection of your brand.
Yeah.
It's like everything is sort of a gamble.
Yeah. And again, I mean, these things take time. Like we have 3 beers in barrels right now. Last year we had 7 in barrels and only 5 turned out. So, that in itself is a gamble.
Yeah.
Because you have to let that age for a year. You don't know how it's going to come out.
Right.
So, fingers crossed, all is well.
Well, and to me, it's like your community is making an investment in what you're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
So it's a we, not just a you,
Right.
And you're all in it together.
And I'm trying to involve it and make it more of that community too.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, last question.
Yep.
I love asking this one every single time because the answers that I get every single time are really neat. So, especially here in the state of Michigan, the Mitten has this really beautiful collaborative environment when it comes to the brewers. So, but yeah, I know that you've got some Michigan brewers that you admire, but you also have some that maybe aren't necessarily here in Michigan. So talk about some of the brewers that you really look up to and admire.
So I will say that I hired the one that I admired.
Ah, smart.
I felt that was a key thing for me to do. Beyond that, I mean, I think I look at it more. I tend to gravitate towards people that are doing both the brewery operations and the business side.
Gotcha.
So Andy up at Starving Artist, huge influence on me. Probably more than he should have been. And so he was critical in me opening. If it wasn't for him, then I would never have opened. Other than that, I lean on a lot of people in this general area as far as the team over at Copper Hop and St. Louis Shores, Cadillac Straits just down the street, Madison Pike. And they all seem to be, they're partners. So they have one person does the business side, one does the brewing side, but they're instrumental. And I can name breweries that I'm really into that are outside. Like if I could ever get a beer's quality of beer stock in Colorado, I think I would just, I'd end my life right there. And there's beers that brought me into this world that Pliny the Elder, of course.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to meet Larry Bell before he retired, and that was just weird as it is. But it's
Going to see Buddha.
Yeah. So it's just moments like that that I hold dear to me. So.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Brewers for Good made our stop here at Loaded Dice. tell everybody location one more time.
Yeah, so we are on Rochester Road, just south of Maple, which is 15 miles, in Troy, Michigan, right off of 75. So you get off on the Rochester Road, you look around, you're right here.
So do us a favor, let Jef know when you stop into the tap room that you heard this interview on Brewers for Good, so he knows that he didn't waste my time or his. Thanks so much, everybody, man. I appreciate it.
And
Thanks.